So you are a homeowner wondering, how do I know if my property is good for a land assembly in the Lower Mainland? Or perhaps you're a realtor and you want to know how to present potential land assembly opportunities to homeowners or even to developers. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly step by step how to identify land assembly opportunities, as well as how to know which sites not to waste any time on. And if you stick around to the end, I will show you how to get the spreadsheet that does all the heavy lifting for you and calculates all the numbers. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, what's going on? Mark Parsons here with eXp Realty, deep in the heart of Greater Vancouver. And if you are somebody that is interested in learning everything Vancouver, Canada, working, playing, culture, the real estate market, investing, really anything, make sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to that so that you get notified every time we upload a brand new video about Vancouver and the surrounding areas here on the channel. Honestly, we get dozens and dozens of people reaching out about moving to or relocating to Vancouver or buying and selling within the Greater Vancouver area, and we absolutely love it. It's what we do on a daily basis. So if you're looking to move, relocate, or you think you may be sitting on a potential land assembly opportunity, make sure you reach out and we can crunch the numbers for you. I'll leave some links in the description as well as our contact info. Just know that we have your back and we want to take care of you, but if you don't reach out, we can't help. So call, text, email, or even book a Zoom meeting at a time of your convenience from the links below. So let me share my screen with you and walk you through exactly how to know if a property is good for a land assembly in the Lower Mainland. All right, guys, in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to evaluate potential land assembly opportunities. So let's get right into it here. The first thing that you're going to want to get familiar with is the city website, wherever it is that you are seeking these opportunities. In the case of this example, we are going to be looking at Coquitlam. So we'll type City of Coquitlam. You get to their website, you're going to want to get familiar with the maps on the city website. So when I come to Coquitlam website, I come down to maps here. Whoops, maps. Many municipalities have the Q map, but others may have their own equivalent. But it's a map where you can get pretty much most of the information that it is you need. What you want to do is find the OCP and find out the designated land use. Now, the area where we are looking at for this example is a few properties right in here. So the first thing that you want to do, you want to click the layers and put designated land use. You want to see what the designated land use is. This shows you what's laid out in the OCP. Then from there, you can actually use the legend, and this will tell you the different type of what is zoned for what. Like I know the map here, so I know this is towers with commercial underneath. Then this is high density, so towers with the crisscross. Then we got the line here. We got medium density apartment residential, and so on and so on. So once you find that, the next thing that you want to find is the you want to cross-check the land use to the property addresses. So the property addresses that we are looking at are, let's see on the spreadsheet, there's 636 to 652 Harrison. So 636 to 652 Harrison. So those ones right there. And we can see that they are clearly in medium density apartment residential on the OCP. So let's type in Coquitlam OCP. Citywide official community plans. You want to scroll down the OCP and you want to find the correct area because it's going to be broken into areas. So areas and neighborhood plans. We are in the southwest Coquitlam area plan, so we're going to click into there. And next, we want to find the corresponding neighborhood plan. So our neighborhood plan that we are looking at here that's relevant for this example that we're discussing is Coquitlam Lougheed plan. Now, neighborhood plan lets you know the land use designations and the corresponding zones. So if you click this land use designations, it's going to show you the same the same thing that we were getting out of the Q map. So there's many different information sources with overlapping information that the city will provide there. But we're going to go into Burquitlam Lougheed Neighborhood Plan. What we want to do is go in there and find out the corresponding zones so that we can go cross-reference it with the zoning bylaws and see what can be built. So now you've got your city official community plan. Just going to scroll down till I start. Okay, so now I know I'm starting to get in the right place. Again, we're looking at land use designation. We're up there. Land use designations. We are in medium density apartment residential, accommodates townhouse apartment developments at medium densities from 3 to 8 stories high. And now we're looking at corresponding zones. So medium density apartment residential will allow for RM2, which is 3-story medium density apartment residential, RM3, multi-story medium density apartment residential, and these other ones, but this is what we will be looking at here. So now we want to go to the Coquitlam zoning bylaws and find out what can be built on an RM3 site. It'll tell you what you can build, minimum lot size and density, which is really what we're looking for. So now we're going to type in Coquitlam zoning bylaws. And the zoning bylaw that we are looking for here is apartment residential. And this, again, this is going to tell us, tells you what we can build, minimum lot size, density, etc. So it's RT2. We want to go find RM3. RM1, RM2. RM2, RM3. Okay, so here we are. RM3 gives you the minimum lot size there. So you make sure that you have a footprint that's going to be large enough to accommodate. Then it gets into density. All buildings and structures together must not exceed a gross floor area of 1.85 times the lot area for all permitted uses. For lots located within the Evergreen Line, core, and shoulder station areas of Schedule O of the bylaw, this may be increased by. So if we're under the Schedule O footprint of the OCP, then it can increase. And, minimum of 5 stories up to 2.2 times the lot area. Minimum of 6 stories up to 2.3 times the lot area, and a minimum of 7 stories up to 2.4 times the lot area. So how do we find out if we're in the Schedule O? Well, if we come back to where we saw the zoning bylaws here, you've got schedules right there. So come over to schedules, click Schedule O, and then it shows us the pictures. And yes, so we can see this. Our development is, or the one that we're analyzing right now, is right around there. So that does fall under the Schedule O. So now, in this case, most developers will use a 6-story building in this zone, because when you go up to 7 stories, there are increased code requirements, which include going to concrete structure in the BC Building Code, leaving the wood frame buildings to be more economical. Now that could change in the future, but for now that's what it is. So we will be looking up to 6 stories here using 2.3 times the lot area. So now let me just give you a quick recap of the process of what we've done here. So originally we went to the city website. We found the maps. From the maps, we went and we opened Explore the Q map, which allowed us to open up the map here. When we first came, that was not selected, so we found where our properties are. We want to click the layers. We want to put the designated land use so we can see. That when you want to see the legend here, you can cross-reference what the what the zoning is there. So it shows you what the OCP calls for, but developers still have to go through the rezoning process and a public hearing to get the land designation formally changed. But this is the guide that the city of Coquitlam has set out for us below. Once you have the land designation, then we go to the OCP and look for the corresponding zoning. So we went to Coquitlam OCP. From the OCP, we went and we had to find the area of our neighborhood. Then we had to find the neighborhood plan for where we were. And then in there, that's when we hopped into this here, the Burquitlam Neighborhood Area Plan. We scrolled down. Once we saw what looked familiar, we found out what the actual zoning is that we're looking for, that we want to use, RM3. Then we came into the zoning bylaws. We went into apartment residential, which brought us here and let us know the density we could do, which was 2.3, and that kind of takes us to where we are now. So this is the information that we need to start really analyzing on our spreadsheet. So these are the 4 properties. Where's the map? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we're looking at here. So we've got these properties now. To get the land size, very, very simple. You just take the address, go to BC Assessment. Once we're in there, I already did this in advance, so I don't have to do it all on the video. But once you found that property there, you can get the land size. So what we want to do is have a spreadsheet with the land size of each of the 4 properties. Now, our FSR, floor space ratio, is what was given right here, 2.3 times the lot area. So then we add 2.3 here, and what it's done is it's taken our total lot area and it's times it by 2.3. And that is what's creating the what can be built on there. Now, we also have to put in an efficiency. Now, you can speak to developers on what number they like to use, but what efficiency is, you put in an efficiency number to create a saleable building. So for strata properties, townhomes, and condos, you're going to have to account for things that need to be built that cannot be sold, such as elevators, hallways, common areas, common rooms. Those have to be built, but they are not sellable. You can't calculate them in the cost of the sale. So that's how we take the efficiency. So all of a sudden we have total building size we're allowed to do that's based on 2.3 times the total site, but the efficiency will be your saleable building. So let's say there are 15% of the property that was common areas, elevators, things that are not going to be sold on the MLS. And then that gives you your saleable building. Now, once you have that, the saleable building square footage, now if you have an average unit size that you believe will stand for the building, let's say average of 700 square feet. Well, if you had this much saleable building square footage and you had an average of 700 square feet per unit, now some could be more, some could be less. That may sound small, but you'd be surprised how things go these days. Total of 82 units. And I mean, this can be changed. And you can speak with developers and they can change that, but it gives you a starting point. So anyway, it would show a total of 82 units that would be able to be built on these 4 lots. So now the next thing that we have to do is we have to get the saleable price per square foot. Now this is where you're going to need a realtor, at least access to sales. And so what we're going to do here, we use, let's get this over here. We're going to create 2 scenarios because you don't know exactly what they will sell for. So we will say a lower number and a higher number, and it'll spit out 2 scenarios there. And we can start to determine, will this be feasible? Will there be enough money to pay the homeowners enough to actually make that move here? So So going back to efficiency here, efficiency will vary based on the design, the shape of the lot, how efficient your architect can make it. So it will vary per developer and per project, but you do need to account for it that you cannot sell all of the square footage that you can build. Now we want to go out and get the saleable price per square foot. Like I said, we're going to do two scenarios here. And again, this is where you will need Realtor or access to recent sales. Now, the higher saleable price per square foot, the higher the developer can pay for the land. So we always want to search sold listings in the city of development. So we're going to come here, we're going to search attached. Um, we're going to search sold. The area is Coquitlam. Coquitlam. Property type of dwelling is going to be apartment or condo. Now we want to make sure that we're also searching wood frame because it will be a different average cost per square foot from concrete to versus wood frame. So I believe it's got it written down here, AJ6 frame wood. Okay, and then we're looking for pre-sales. So we want to find sales that are not currently constructed. So age, max age is 0. So anyway, I mean, how to look for what you're looking for. You want to make sure that you're searching for 0 years old because we want to be looking at pre-sales, and you want to do make sure that you are including the um, that it is a wood frame and not including the concrete here. So you can see sold price per square foot. We're looking, I mean, it can be as some of the higher ones are a little over 800, 850, 830. So the highest ones are over 800 and the lowest ones are below 7. So let's just type in here 700 and 800. So the land value, I can't make this calculate off of both. So it's calculating uh, off of the higher scenario here because you can see when that disappeared, all of that. It can't calculate off both. So it's calculating off of the higher one. So at a saleable price per square foot, 700 price per square foot based on a saleable building comes to a little over $40 million. If it is 800 dollars per square foot times a saleable building, it comes to that. Now buildable price per square foot is based on this efficiency because they have to build the hallways, the elevators, so their buildable price per square foot is actually uh, calculated from this number, so it's 85%. So efficiency gives you the saleable building square foot. You multiply that by your saleable price per square foot, and that gives you the gross revenue for the building, which you have here on two different scenarios. Now, revenue is based on the saleable price per square foot, but the buildable price per square foot is based off of the total building size. So you have to use the efficiency number to help calculate that. So the number of the buildable price per square foot is actually coming off of that efficiency number because they do have to build the whole building, even though they're not going to get paid necessarily for the hallways, the elevators, the common areas, etc. So then you have your hard costs, soft costs. Now, hard costs will vary. You can speak with the developers, and they'll give you a good idea of what they are looking at here. And they'll usually add a 10% buffer for unexpected costs. This is hard cost per square foot, soft cost per square foot. Now, the developers will have a strong footing on that number, so you can lean on them for that. Most developers, like I said, will add a 10% contingency to whatever their true hard costs are to account for unexpected expenses throughout the development. So soft costs here next. Um, soft costs include city fees, engineering upgrades, financing fees, resale, commissions. Again, you can get confirmation on these numbers when speaking with developers, but this spreadsheet will help you outline everything. And these numbers are rough numbers for the time being. And then it comes down to the profit. Now, developers typically cannot get financing if they cannot show at least a 20% return on costs. Otherwise, the banks see the project is too risky. So, what we do here now, again, this is calculating off of this scenario here, but this number, the profit number, has to be more, it has to be at least 20%. So, and once we have those numbers based on saleable price per square foot and their cost here, and the fact that they do have to make that profit. So the land value that we have at the bottom here, now that's price per square foot. Value equals the buildable price per square foot minus the hard costs, minus the soft costs, minus the profits. Now, and with this number, you can determine whether it's feasible for you to for this to even make sense. Now, first off, the number down here, it just does average price per property. So it just divided the total land value, which is this leftover price per square foot, times the total site, which gives you that, and the average price per property. Now you can see there's a huge variance here. With this one, if you could only average paying these people $600,000 for their properties, when let's take a look at the BC assessment was at 1.2. Well, yeah, you don't have a deal. You don't need to talk to the developers. You don't need to talk to anybody. But if it gets up over here to 125, and this number is what populates this number, which is what fills out the land value. So then you have a average land value at over 2 million. This is just to give you a gauge here, but each land is different size, so represents different amount of value to the development there. That's going to break that number down by square foot, but this just gives you a bird's eye view. Okay, let's say this is 2,118,000. You look here. Well, if we look back and we could get someone 2 million for this property, well, yes, then they may consider moving. And we've maintained the 20% profit, so a developer could get financing here. And this is how you gauge if it's even worth looking at or not. Now, and you can see, let's see if one thing you'll like about this is, let's say hard or soft costs went up, and it's 150. So what happens is the profit remains the same, because in order for them to get financing, this has to be above 20%. So as these other numbers change, all it does is change the value of the property, what the developer could potentially pay the homeowner. So you can see as if you have a deal in your hands or not. You know, if this went to 350 and that went to 150, well, now okay, at $60 now we're at an average of $1 million per property, give or take. Of course, they're not going to all get the same, but then you come here and you look at the BC assessment. Well, of course, that would just never work. So again, we'll put these numbers back to where they were, which was the closest that we could guesstimate. But again, when you talk to the developers, they will give you these numbers. So you get these numbers from them, and then you've got to go find a project that's going to get them at least 20% profit while paying out the homeowners enough to make it worth their while to move, even if they maybe weren't planning to. So that's it, guys. Hopefully this makes sense here. Again, these are just average numbers down here, taking this total number and dividing it by the number of properties. So this is not what they're worth. It just helps give you a quick gauge of if it's even in the ballpark. And you're going to base that based on what you're going to be able to pay each property. Or so this number here is then divided by the actual square footage here. So if you were just paying for the dirt and nobody was getting anything extra other than the exact square footage or bringing to the footprint of the new development, then that would be the numbers here. This price per square foot is populated by this one. All of the population is coming from the more rosier scene, just so you're aware. That's how some of these other numbers, this one is just to show the two scenarios, guys, but that's it. This is how you can quickly put together go find potential land assemblies for developers. If you know their hard costs and their soft costs, you know the profit that they need to make, then you can go out and find potential lot sizes, follow the exact process I showed you to figure out what can be built there. You can get your average unit size, your average saleable price per square foot. You'll be able to gauge it based on the information you can get there, and then you can put this to the table. And as well, when you're dealing with homeowners in a land assembly, if you're not fully explaining the process to them, it's not uncommon for them to get greedy because they just think the developer's getting greedy and they can get more, and why should the developer get it and not them? So when you can break down the numbers, you can let them know, well, if they're just saying, I want more here, and what it's actually doing is moving the developer's profit to say down, and say, well, once you're breaking below that 20%, now you're just creating a scenario where the developer will literally walk away and just go look at opportunities with your neighbor's properties. And it's not even because they wouldn't like to make 19%, it's because they're likely going to need a minimum of 20%. They'll need to show a minimum of 20% return on their costs to the bank in order to get the financing. So when you can explain to somebody, well, you wanting more will actually certainly without question kill the deal, well, then they can logically make that decision. When we know that often when someone is selling their house, especially in a land development situation, they're not always trusting everything that's given. They always think that they can get a little more, but this brings true reality to the scenario, so all parties can look at it logically, and so that you're not wasting time on deals that just simply are never going to come together. So that's it, guys. Any questions at all, let me know. If you want this spreadsheet, just comment below and I'll get it to you, no problem. Okay, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. How to know if a property is good for a land assembly in the Lower Mainland. If you would like a copy of the spreadsheet so that you can run your own calculations on potential land assembly opportunities, comment below and I'll be sure to get that over to you. If you believe your property is a potential land assembly opportunity, reach out so we can crunch the numbers for you. I'll leave my contact info in the description below, along with a link to book a Zoom meeting at a time of your convenience if you prefer that. And remember, if you do not reach out, I can't help you. So reach out. If I can help out in any way at all, that's what I'm here for. So with all that being said, my name is Mark Parsons with eXp Realty. I'm from the Greater Vancouver area, so if you have any questions at all, let us know in the comments below and we will see you guys on the next video.